Hello everybody, and thank you for joining me. This is Ciara from Ciara T Designs, and today I have my third project in the Christmas in July series, so let's jump right in. So I'm going to cut down my cardstock first. I'm actually going to show you making card bases. Generally, I pre-make all my card bases, but I actually ran out and I haven't showed it in a while, so I thought if there was any beginners watching, this would be kind of helpful. So I take a standard piece of cardstock in Canada and the US, like North America, which is 8.5 by 11. I cut it in half at the 5.5 mark, and then I score at the 4.25, giving me a base that is 4.25 by 5.5, which is our standard A2 card size. It's pretty simple. I sit on the couch and do this in the evening, usually after supper when I'm running low on card bases, but I forgot, so I thought I would quickly show you guys just in case. And then I'm going to cut down 2 pieces of Yupo here. I'm going to cut them to be 6 by 5.25. This is going to give me a couple of different pieces to cut when I actually go to make my cards and after I've done all my alcohol ink work. But if you guys have been with me for any of my alcohol ink videos, you know that I kind of have been having fun creating like larger panels and then cutting them down. And I thought it would be fun to show you the difference between alcohol, like isopropyl alcohol, and blending solution. So I started with the ISO and I've kind of put that all over my background, and then I'm going to kind of start creating my background. I generally reach towards blending solution instead. I just preferred it because I find that it doesn't dull the colors. Like, I don't know, you'll have to tell me your thoughts, but I feel like when I use ISO instead, my colors seem like they're watered down, and it's not water, they're alcoholed down is I guess the right way to say that. Whereas blending solution just kind of gives them movement and helps them blend together. It doesn't make the colors less vibrant, if that makes sense. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. However, you can absolutely use ISO instead of blending solution as long as you are not using a pearl or an alloy, any of the ones that need the blending solution to kind of adhere to the Yupo. If you're just using regular alcohol inks, which is what I'm using here, you can absolutely use ISO as your base instead of blending solution. But you can kind of see this, it looks a little bit dull compared to the one I'm going to do. And I used the same 4 colors on each page. I used Cloudy Blue, Cosmopolitan, Flannel, and Cool Peri. And I'm going to do the exact same colors on this one. And now on this one, I've used blending solution. And I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm just going to move the colors around, add a few drops at a time. And if you find alcohol inks really intimidating, I actually did a beginner video not very long ago. If you want to go check that out, it kind of just gave my tips and tricks and showed using one color at a time. So you kind of got a little more comfortable with working with alcohol inks. So you can definitely check that video out. I do a full made card in that video, but I kind of go through some beginner tips on how to work with alcohol inks because I do get a lot of comments from people, saying that the alcohol inks are very intimidating. They want to try them, but they're a little nervous. So that video is kind of a fun one to just watch and get some ideas if you're, struggling with alcohol inks. So I worked through all of my colors. You can see generally I like to add a drop or 2 at a time, blow them around, and then just kind of build from there until I'm happy. Here I had to try to get a cat hair out of my alcohol ink. If you guys have been with me for any length of time, you know that I have a lot of cats, so hair is always a bit of a thing in all of my projects. So I did just kind of lift that off and it looked okay. Now keep in mind, alcohol inks, especially the way I'm about to use them, they don't need to be anything special. But here you see the difference between the two. I didn't like this one. The colors were just too muted for me, and I like vibrant colors. So I went back in, I put a little blending solution over top of the panel that I had used ISO on previously, and I'm just going to add more color and kind of keep building those layers until I'm happy. That is one thing I find very forgiving about alcohol inks, is that if you're not happy, you can kind of start over. You could use alcohol and just remove everything on the background and kind of start over with your paper, because Yupo is plastic. So you could remove all of the colors and kind of start over from there. I didn't. I just added a little bit of extra color on top, and then I kind of kept going from there. And I really like it now. It's super vibrant. So I am going to add a little ISO with my splatter brush onto the backgrounds and just get some movement and texture. You could skip this step if you preferred the backgrounds previously. And the one on the right, you get more movement because I had just added a bunch to that one, like it hadn't started to dry yet. So I get so much movement. Whereas the one on the left, it had sat and dried for a while, so I don't get quite as much movement from when I splattered the ISO on, but that's okay. It's just a different style of texture, and I really like that. So for extra texture, I am also going to splatter on some white and black paint. You don't need to do this. You could skip this step. It's just that I really happen to love texture, so I do tend towards adding all sorts of fun things, and I'm going to splatter those both onto my backgrounds. I end up with this big blob of black paint on the left panel here in a second, and I just took a baby wipe and I just wiped it off, because again, you have to think that I'm working on Yupo, so it's a plastic substrate, so it's pretty easy that if you don't like something, you can kind of help remove it. So you can see there, I'm going to, right there's a bit of blob about a center to just side of the left side there. I don't like it, so I'm going to take my little piece of it is a baby wipe, and I just gently wiped up that black paint, kind of, moving the baby wipe around so I wasn't smudging more paint. And then that was kind of what I did, and it worked out really well. So that's how I removed that from the background before it dried, of course. And then I'm going to bring in probably my all-time favorite snowflake. This is the Tim Holtz Vault Winter Wishes snowflake. It came out in a set last year or the year before. It's been out for a little while now. If you don't have it and you like it, you should grab it, because it is probably my go-to snowflake. I love it. And I cut it out of the Tim Holtz Sparkle Classics cardstock. So it's just this really beautiful silver. And then here, this is where I'm going to take the 6-inch side and I'm going to cut it down to 3. So now my panels will be 3 by 5¼ inches, because my card, of course, like I said, it was 5¼ wide, 5.5 wide. So I'm going to cut them on an angle, and I don't have an exact measurement for this. I kind of just eyeballed it. So I have it pretty much centered, and then I'm going to kind of like 1.5, because it's 3 inches. 1.5 is my center point. And then I kind of just tipped it from there, and that's how I eyeballed it. I'm sorry. I don't always measure, so sometimes I have to kind of just give you guys a general idea. But on my trimmer, if you can kind of see, I measured out to the 1.5 mark, and then I'm tipping my Yupo up to the closest square. I don't know if you can kind of see that where my hand is. I've tipped it up to the closest square, and that's how I cut them, so that I could cut them fairly evenly, even though I'm not really looking at the measurements. There's no right or wrong here. You're just cutting it on an angle. And if you were doing one card, it wouldn't matter. It's just that I'm trying to match my diagonals to each other so that I get kind of a card set look together. But there's no wrong way here. You could make this work with anything. Just like you could make this work with any snowflake. Like if you don't have alcohol inks, but you want to recreate this card design, use your favorite pattern paper. Use inks. Do an ink smoosh technique. That would be really pretty this way as well. So if alcohol inks aren't your thing, or do sprays. Do a really fun sprayed background in a strip, and then cut it down like I've done here. And there you have a beautiful card. And it doesn't have to be, if you don't have snowflakes or you're not doing Christmas cards, make it a birthday card. Put a Christmas gift where I put the snowflake, or Christmas gift, a birthday gift, or put a leaf and do a birthday card, or put a flower instead of a snowflake and make it, like a hey, thinking of you, or how you doing, just checking in kind of card. Like this, I think, can be a very versatile card design. It's just that I'm in Christmas in July, so that is what I'm creating. But I think you can take this design and create any card that you want out of it. You just take the idea of the layout and kind of turn it into whatever you happen to need for that card. Because not everybody celebrates Christmas. Not everybody needs Christmas cards, or maybe you've already made all your Christmas cards. Maybe you're way ahead of the game and you don't need no more. So now you're making birthday cards or thank you cards or whatever you happen to be doing. Or you could maybe do a really fun die cut sentiment if you don't want to add like a focal, and have the alcohol ink panels be your focal. Like there's so many ways you could change this to whatever you happen to need if Christmas cards aren't your jam right now. And of course, you guys know I do lean towards a very traditional Christmas palette. So I do tend to, kind of either go in rainbows or whatever color just tickles my pickle at the time. So you could also change up this color palette and make it something a little more traditional. This would be stunning in shades of blue if you wanted to go more that way and take out the purple. I think I try really hard to make my cards something that just inspires an idea. So whether, you do the exact same card that I have done, that's perfectly fine. Or maybe you love the 2 strips at the top and the bottom, and that's what you take and you do something, with that idea. My whole goal is to inspire you guys to especially work with stuff that you have. I don't buy a lot of new stuff. I really have to love a new product to want to purchase it, So if there's something in my stash that's similar, I'll tend not to spend my money on something else. So I kind of encourage you to shop your own stash and find stuff that you have, and maybe you've only used once or twice, or maybe you forgot you had, or maybe like this snowflake, it's one of your favorite dies and you just wait to use it for your next Christmas card or whatnot. So I hope that I'm inspiring you guys. I hope that you enjoy my content. I would love it if you'd let me know that in the comments, because of course I create this content for you guys. So I hope that you're enjoying it. I hope you'll consider subscribing. I have a goal of trying to hit 20,000 by the end of the year. I don't know if that's crazy or not, but that's kind of my goal. So if you enjoy my content, I would love if you'd consider subscribing. That just tells YouTube that my content is worthwhile and that people enjoy it, just like liking and commenting. It's the same thing. So if you are not subscribed and you enjoy my content, I'd love it if you'd consider. That would mean so much to me. And also, I really want to thank my members. You guys are phenomenal. You make me creating this content something that I can do, and I greatly, greatly appreciate you. So thank you so, so much. If you're at all interested in checking out my membership, there is a link down below. You can go and check that out. And yeah, so I've pretty much adhered all my stuff. You guys know that I have to add a gem to my snowflake. I can't leave the center of a snowflake alone. It's just not in my ability. If there's, a chance to add a little bit of bling, I'm going to do it. So I did it. I added just one really chunky gem to the center of my snowflakes, and I think that it turned out stunning. And I am so happy with how this card set turned out. I do have one more alcohol ink card to share with you guys this month. I think it's another really cool card. And yeah, so that is the video I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll leave me a like, leave me a comment, and consider subscribing. Like I said, I have a goal and I'm really hoping to hit it. So you could make that happen and I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, I do new videos every Monday and Thursday. And pretty much all of July will be Christmas in July, with the exception of 2 videos. I do a watercolor video every month where I'm just sharing my skills as I slowly learn. And I do my bullet journal for the next month. So it will not be Christmas themed as it is August for the bullet journal. But that is what I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me a like, leave me a comment, and I will see you again very soon. Bye-bye for now.